Good morning. This is Philip with RTX Honeybees. This video is going to be about building telescoping outer covers. I'm going to build flat top outer covers. My typical outer cover has a sloped top, which I really like, but I'm sort of heading into wanting to be able to make my hives a little more mobile. So stacking is starting to be something I want to consider. I am going to make one sloped cover just to record how I do it. I've made a lot of them, but I just have never recorded it, but I'd like to get that on the record. So thank you guys for coming along, and I hope you learned something from this. To assemble one of these. This is the Luan panel. I just cut this out of it's not quite a 4x8 sheet, but a bigger sheet. It's 20 5/8 by 17. That's what my measurements came out to. I always like to do one just to make sure before I do cut them all out. So let's just see how this goes. Okay, the reason I cut one and build one is because right away I see that this panel, you guys see that? There's a little bit of a gap there. I'll be able to use this one, but better if I make these 1/8 inch longer. So my number was 20 5/8 by 17. I'm going to make that 20 3/4 by 17, and I think that'll be just about right. Okay. Before I go and cut all these panels, I'm going to go ahead and put the insulation and the top on one of these. I'd pre-cut these even before I started making the video. I also noticed there's some joints in these where I've stitched them together. I had a lot of scraps. I'm trying to use this project to get rid of a lot of my old scraps that have been building up around here. This gets covered with metal anyway. Alright, that's one down. 10 to go. Good morning. Yesterday I got 10 of these boxes, carcasses, whatever you want to call it, built. These are going to be the flat tops. So now we're going to put together the slope top carcass, so to speak. The sides of the top are right here. It's got this little dado cut into it for the, oh, let's call it the soffit or the bottom. But now, and these came out of a single 1/8 by oh, the length of it, whatever that is, I forget. It's the same as these boxes. So now we need to cut the short end, the ends, 18-inch ends, 18 1/8, I think. So that's this piece. So I've left it together, and I did that for a reason, because now I can take these and customize this to match these pieces. So I apologize. I thought I'd hit record when I cut these, but I didn't. All I did was set this up on my sawhorses and freehand cut it with my skill saw. So it's not a great cut, but it all gets covered up by the top anyway. So what I'm going to do now is take this, I'm going to take this, where it comes into it. Let's see, there we go. See how the grooves latch up? Now I'm going to take this and line it up. Show you guys what I'm doing here. And I'm literally, that's the way they go together, so I'm literally going to project this line until it crosses, and I'm going to draw myself a line, just continuing that line. See if I can show that to you. See what I did there? I just made a pencil line that continues that line. Now I'm going to put another line. I'll put 2 lines there to indicate the width of the saw blade. So I'm going to take this angle so I can set the angle on my table saw blade, and I can cut that, and I'll show you what happens. I'm basically just going to hold this here. I'm going to raise this up a good distance. I'll just set the angle. I'll put it back down in a minute. Set the angle. It is. All right, let's see how we did. Okay, so it's a little bit short on that side. No redoing this, it is what it is. It's close. Check this side. Yeah, that side's much closer. You'll see that. Darn near perfect. Okay, now by default, this one should be cut pretty close to accurate because assuming this blade is a similar thickness to my the blade I cut this piece with. Let's see. Pretty close. 1/16 of an inch or less difference there. I bet this side's exact because one side's going to be exact, one side's going to be a little bit off. Yeah, I was right. See how that's perfect? Pretty much perfect right there. So there you go. Alright, that's the 3/4 inch rigid piece, polyisocyanurate, and I'm going to fill the rest of this in with the pink stuff, the fiberglass. Be right back. Okay, so I got this. Try to make as little of a mess as I can, but this stuff is really don't like fooling with this stuff, but I'm doing it for the bees. Come on. Okay, so what I do usually is I pull the, make sure you wear gloves when you handle this stuff. It's fiberglass. I pull the paper off first. Pull that up and throw it away. Then I try to take this and I roughly try to half it. Now I got a piece that was a little thicker on this end than that end, so the thicker part I'll put toward the front. Try to fluff it. You don't want to compress this stuff too bad. Alright. On all these boxes over here, I pre-cut all the tops. I knew exactly what they were. This one I wasn't sure on the length of it, so I'm gonna go ahead and just measure it. I got this piece here I'm gonna take outside and cut. Measuring this, but it's 18 1/8 wide, which I knew, and on the length these were 21 3/4, and the slant of this roof only added 1/8 of an inch, so it was 21 7/8 tall. All right, there it is. Telescoping outer cover with a radius, with a, not a radius, with a slanted top. Alright, so now it's time to put the solid nosing on these pieces of plywood. It's just exposed grain plywood right now, but you know, if I had to do this over with, I might make these a little longer, like 2.5 inches instead of 2 1/8, and not do this, just caulk and paint this. But I had all these strips of this plywood I wanted to use, so I went ahead and committed to putting the solid nosing on it. that gives it. I want to be able to use this over a 3/4 inch inner cover. Have that option, and there's only about 7/8 right here, so that'd be really cutting it too close. I'm going to glue and nail all of these. All right, just 9 more of those and we'll be done. I'll see you guys in a minute. Okay, that's it. Next we'll caulk, prime, and then paint, and then finally we'll put the metal caps on it. So, moving right along. Good morning. But we're gonna get a coat of primer on this on these outer covers. So what I like to use is the Kilts 2 primer. It's a latex primer. I'll go over that with an oil-based paint. I'll show you guys that later, but let's get started. Well, that's it. Come back in an hour or two and put the first coat of paint on it. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put this first coat of paint on. I might be rushing it a little bit. It's been an hour or less that this primer has had to dry. I'm using white paint. This is Rust-Oleum Industrial Enamel. It's an oil-based paint. I'm using white because I bought some white to make the migratory lid migratory covers, and I made a video on that, so maybe I'll post a link in the description or on the screen, I don't know. But and this paint, okay, that's the first coat, so we'll let these dry all day. This oil-based paint takes between 4 and 8 hours to dry, so depending on, you know, humidity, sunshine, all that good stuff. All right, it's time to put the final coat on these tops. Got me a new paintbrush too. Boy, that thing I was using this morning was terrible. So we'll see how this one works. Well, I didn't hit record to finish, but these are finished. While we're waiting for these to dry, we'll go into the shed there and get the metal cut and prepped, ready to be installed. That'll be tomorrow. While this is in the evening, so that'll be tomorrow when we put it on, or the next day, who knows. It's time to cut the metal that goes on top of the outer covers. What I have here is a 20-inch wide by 50-foot long, or at least it was when it was new, roll of valley flashing. It's galvanized. I think it's 30 gauge. I got this at Home Depot. I'm not real big on giving, telling you guys how you need to do something, but I will tell you this. I read this in one of the reviews on this product. If you do buy this, it comes with tape around it. Before you cut that tape or take that tape off, make sure you build some kind of a box, a dispensing box around it. Because I read in the reviews, if you cut that off, all 50 feet unwinds at one time, and it's dangerous, and you'll never get it rolled back up, and all that good stuff. So that's the only bit of advice I'll give you guys on that. But I'll probably end up using pretty much all of this. I got to do 11 pieces of this that are almost 2 feet long, so it's going to be 23 3/4 inch long by 20 inches wide. I'm using these shears, metal cutting shears I got from Harbor Freight. 18 gauge sheet metal shears to cut this. It does a nice job. There's a little bit of waviness on the cut. All right, I got to do that 11 times. Now I'm going to take some sandpaper and I'm going to try to rough sandpaper and try to smooth these cut edges out, because they can cut you a little bit if you're not careful. So I like to take Okay, so I'm going to, other thing I'm going to do to prep these is I'm going to clean this. You see how this is kind of cupped up from the way it was rolled? This is going to be the bottom side. It's going to be the top side. I'm going to clean this up with some rubbing alcohol to make sure there's not any where I've been leaning on them. I probably got oils on them, and there might be some oils from the manufacturing still on here. So I'll clean these with some rubbing alcohol so we'll get a good adhesion when we glue them down. All right, they're done. It's time to bring the lids in, mark them, and stick them down. Just try to center this on that piece of metal, looking at all edges, and then I come back and take my marker and trace around it. You guys can see that, but see, it's got the outline in black. I've typically been using contact cement for this job, and that's worked pretty good, although I end up having to put 2 or 3 coats on this wood because it soaks in. So I'm going to try something. New. Liquid nail. It's called Fuse It. It says all surface, so it says it bonds to metal, wood, glass, most plastics. We're going to try this. This also has like a 24-hour cure time, so I feel like it's going to be wanting to slide around, whereas the contact cement, once you put it on there, boy, it's there. You better have it where you want it, and I can fold the edges and work on it. But this, I might have to stick these down, leave some weights on them, and then come back tomorrow and fold the edges down. We'll see. Y'all are learning with me, I guess. One of the reasons I wanted to make so many outer covers is this tube of liquid nail was $11, I think, which I think is crazy, but well, hopefully it works good. We'll see. All right, let's see if we can do this. Pulling itself back up. I'm gonna go get some bricks and oh shoot. Sorry. I'll show you guys the next one that sorry I didn't show you guys me putting that applying this, but I'll show you on the next one. All right, maybe this time you guys can see what I'm doing. All right, I'm taking these outside and I'm setting concrete blocks on them because this metal, because it's cupping, wants to pull away. So let me take this out and put the blocks on it, and then I'll show you guys what we got. Okay, that's what we got right there. Concrete blocks on there. Weighing that down until it cures. So I'm just going to keep going with that. I don't know, we'll see how many I get done this way. It's a little bit rainy today. It's going to be raining more later on, but most of the rains, we've got a break in the rain, so hopefully I don't have to worry about the rain too much. Talk to y'all in a minute. So rather than try to flip this over, I noticed when I flipped one of them over, it was moving a little bit because it's not an instant contact adhesion. I'm going to leave them upside down like this, and then I'm going to put the blocks on the top side here. Okay, it's time to finish up this project. So what I'm doing is, let's see. See, I got those stacked up. The metal is glued to the top, and all I have left to do is to fold the metal down and attach, and fold the corners and all that. And I'm going to show you guys how I do that. Also adding a little extra step this year to help them stay on a little better. But I had a little technical difficulty. The attachment for my camera or my phone was on top of my tripod. It fell over and broke. So now that's my redneck tripod right there, setting the camera on it and leaning it against a brick. So as bad as my filming is already, it's probably going to be a little worse on this segment. Bear with me. Okay, so the first thing I try to do, I take this rubber mallet and I try to make a crease right at the edge of where the board underneath this is. You guys see that crease forming along there? I try to bend it down, about 45 degrees. I might bend it a little flatter right here in the middle. I just do that all the way around. Okay, so after that, I need to fold the corners in. So what I like to end up with is, as I'm working it down, I'm going to show you guys this real close. I like this to look like, like a tablecloth. So if you see that, and the goal would be to get a line, a crease from this corner down to that little point right there. So I don't know if I'll be able to do that or not, but let me show you how I get pretty close. Alright, so I'll take my framing square, and you see how it's got that little extra, I don't know, T on it right there? I take that and I square it up with the edge of the box like that, and I try to make a crease in the metal right there. And that creates a nice fold line so I can fold the metal across. Okay, so before I fold it in, I want to take, let me make sure I can show you guys this. I want to take and I want to cut this off at a slight angle down. Not straight down, not straight across, but at a slight angle. Like that. Okay? Show you that real close. See that slight angle? Now I'm going to take and I'm going to cut off this little point right here. Okay. Not sure if I can do that one-handed or not, but anyway, you guys get the idea. I'm going to cut that little corner. I'm going to cut that corner off right there. Just like that. It's kind of rounded off now. I'm gonna go ahead and fold it in, and I'm gonna check it to make sure it doesn't grab my finger if I happen to grab the box, the top right there. And that feels good. Give you a close-up of that corner. See how that's kind of rounded? That'll keep it from grabbing my finger when I pick it up. That's pretty much it for the corners. I'm going to go all the way around and do all 4 corners, and then we'll come back for the next step. Something else I'm doing on these tops, this is the first time I've done this. I've not had much trouble with these, you know, the glue giving out and these coming off, but I have had a call, probably less than 5 that's happened to. So I've decided to put a $1 worth of these tech screws. These are 1-inch long sharp point roofing screws. They have a little gasketed washer on them. This is what people use to put metal panels over a, you know, a patio or whatever. So what I do is I'm putting them at putting 2 on the long side and 1 on the short side. So I'm coming over 7 5/16 and making a mark with my awl. Punching a little hole in it. Same here. You don't know what an awl is, it's just a pointed piece of, like a screwdriver with a point on it. And I just screw that in. And you end up just with a couple of fasteners right here to keep the wind from getting under this and blowing it off if the adhesive does fail. And I just go around and do that on all four sides. We'll put one in the center here. My apologies for the camera. All right, that's it right there. Finished telescoping outer cover, ready to go into service. Okay, we're finished. 11 telescoping outer covers, one of the sloped variety. I sure appreciate you guys for watching. It takes a lot of time to make these videos and to edit them and all, and it's not much of an audience for these builds, but for us that are in the build community, we really appreciate people who put this kind of content on and give us new, fresh ideas. I hope somebody was able to get at least one idea out of this little project. It's Philip with RTX Honeybees. Thank you so much for watching.